If the entire world is drowning in debt, who exactly is the creditor? Think about that for a second. $315 trillion. That's the global debt mountain we're sitting on right now. If this debt was demanded to be paid tomorrow, the entire global financial system would evaporate within 48 hours. Not collapse, evaporate. But here's the question nobody wants you to ask. If everyone owes money, who are they paying it to? I'm about to show you something that will fundamentally change how you see every dollar in your bank account. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a mathematical inevitability that's been hiding in plain sight for over 300 years. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the debt crisis isn't a bug in the system. It's the entire point. Let me start with a fact that will make you uncomfortable. The modern debt system was never designed to be paid back. Read that again. It was never designed to be paid back. It was designed to do something far more sinister, to continuously refinance itself while transferring wealth upward from you to them. This isn't new. This architecture was built in 1694 when the Bank of England was founded. That moment changed everything. Before that, debt was seen as a failure, a crisis, a problem to be solved. After that moment, debt became a management tool, a weapon, a way to control entire populations without them ever realizing they were being controlled. Here's how the scam works. When your government needs money, it doesn't just print it and hand it out. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, it borrows it into existence from central banks. These central banks create money out of literally nothing. No gold backing it, no labor backing it, no resources backing it, just keystrokes on a computer. But here's the trick. When that money is created, it's created as debt, which means every single unit of currency in your wallet was born with an obligation attached to it, an obligation to be paid back with interest. Now, pause and think about what that means. If all money is created as debt, and that debt must be paid back with interest, where does the money to pay the interest come from? It doesn't exist yet. So more debt must be created to pay the interest on the old debt, and more debt to pay the interest on that new debt, and on forever. This is why the debt can never be paid back. It's mathematically impossible. The system requires perpetual expansion just to stay alive, like a shark that dies if it stops swimming. Except this shark is now so bloated it can barely move. $315 trillion. That's almost 3 times the size of the entire global economy. Let me put that in perspective for you. If you stacked 315 trillion $1 bills on top of each other, you could build a tower to the moon and back 10 times. 10 times. This number is so large it's become an abstraction. Your brain can't process it. And that's exactly what they want. Because if you understood what this number actually represents, you'd realize it's a claim on the future labor of every human being alive today, including you, including your children, including your grandchildren. And here's the part that should terrify you. This debt is mathematically unpayable. Governments know this. Central banks know this. The people at the top of the pyramid know this. They don't plan to pay it back. They plan to roll it over forever through refinancing. But as interest rates rise and productivity stagnates, the cost of servicing this mountain of debt is now rivaling national defense budgets. The machine is grinding louder every single year. And we've now entered the 4th stage of a 6-stage systemic collapse. Now let me show you the really disturbing part, the circular mirror scam. You think America owes money to China, right? Or that China owes money to international creditors? That's what they want you to believe. But the truth is far stranger. Most of the U.S. debt is actually owned by U.S. institutions. The Federal Reserve owns a massive chunk of it. Social Security Trust Fund owns another chunk. Banks own another chunk. Pension funds own another chunk. It's a circular loop where the country owes money to itself. Let me say that again. The country owes money to itself. This is the circular mirror. It's an illusion. A magic trick designed to make you think the debt is real, that it's owed to some external creditor who will one day come to collect. But there is no external creditor. It's all internal. It's all fabricated. Central banks don't just manage the debt. They manufacture it. They create it from nothing using money they printed from nothing. And then they charge interest on it. Interest that must be paid with more debt that they will also create from nothing. Do you see the loop? Do you see the scam? This isn't about one country owing another country. This is about one class extracting wealth from another class. This is about the people who are closest to the money printer extracting value from everyone who is unt. And this brings us to the most important realization. Debt is actually transferred from nation to nation. It's transferred from class to class, from the bottom to the top, from you to them. The system doesn't depend on the debt being paid. It depends on your belief that the debt can be paid. As long as you believe the numbers on the screen represent something real, the system continues. But the moment that belief dies, the numbers become meaningless, and that moment is coming. Let me take you back to a historical blueprint that predicted exactly this situation. Rome. The Roman Empire didn't fall because of barbarians at the gate. That's the story they teach in schools. The real story is far more relevant to what's happening right now. Rome fell because of financial collapse, specifically because of debasement. The emperors needed to fund their legions, their wars, their massive bureaucracies, but they ran out of gold and silver. So they did what every desperate government does. They debased the currency. They quietly reduced the silver content of the denarius, hoping the public wouldn't notice. The denarius started at 95% silver. By the time the empire was collapsing, it was less than 5%. The rest was cheap base metal with a thin coating of silver to maintain the illusion. This was history's first great stealth inflation. Prices didn't rise because goods were scarce. Prices rose because the money was a lie. The people who saved in currency saw their life's work evaporate. Meanwhile, the elites who owned land, who owned the mines, who owned real assets, they protected their wealth. They even expanded it. Sound familiar? Today, central banks are doing the exact same thing, except they call it quantitative easing. They're not shaving silver off coins. They're printing trillions of digital units to paper over a hollow system. And the bill is being sent to you through the silent tax of inflation. You feel it every time you go to the grocery store, every time you pay rent, every time you look at housing prices and realize you'll never be able to afford what your parents could. That's not market forces. That's not supply and demand. That's theft. Systematic, calculated legal theft. And just like in Rome, the people closest to the currency creation are getting wealthier while everyone else is getting poorer. Here's what they don't teach you in economics class. Inflation isn't just prices going up. Inflation is wealth flowing from the people who receive new money last to the people who receive it first. When the Federal Reserve creates $10 trillion and pumps it into the banking system, who gets that money first? Not you, not me. The megabanks get it, the corporations get it, the politically connected get it, and what do they do with it? They buy real assets, land, companies, infrastructure. They buy these things at yesterday's prices using tomorrow's inflated money. By the time that money trickles down to your paycheck, the prices have already adjusted. The assets have already been purchased. You're left competing for scraps with currency that's already lost its purchasing power. This is the Cantillon effect. And it's not a glitch. It's the design. The system is built to transfer wealth from the many to the few, from the late receivers of money to the early receivers, from you to them. And here's the most important part. This system only works as long as you believe in it. The debt isn't real in any material sense. It's a social construct, a collective hallucination. The moment enough people stop believing, the moment they realize the emperor has no clothes, the entire structure collapses. And that's exactly what's coming in 2027. Right now, the global financial system is held together by one thing: the dollar's status as the world reserve currency. This monopoly was cemented in 1971 when Nixon made a deal with Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar deal. Here's how it worked. Saudi Arabia would only sell oil in US dollars. And since every country needs oil, every country needed dollars. This forced the entire world to buy dollars just to keep their lights on. It allowed America to export its inflation to everyone else, but that monopoly is fracturing. Nations are now trading in other currencies. They're stockpiling gold at record rates. China and Russia are building alternative payment systems that don't use dollars. The BRICS nations are creating their own currencies. When global demand for the dollar falls, all those trillions of dollars that are parked overseas will come flooding back home. And when they do, they'll trigger a hyperinflationary spiral that will make 2008 look like a minor correction. Most people will lose everything during this transition, not because they did anything wrong, but because they've been holding paper promises in a system that was designed to fail. You were told to save money, but the system erodes your savings. You were told to work hard, but wages never track with asset inflation. You were told to trust the experts, but the experts are the ones running the scam. You're not a citizen in this system. You're a battery, a source of energy for a pyramid that was built to consume you. So let me ask you the question that matters. When the faith in these paper promises finally dies, what will you be holding? Will you be holding numbers on a screen that represent nothing? Or will you be holding real assets that can't be printed, can't be debased, can't be erased? Because the reset is coming. The math guarantees it. And the only question that matters is whether you'll be prepared. Here's what you need to understand. The people at the top already know this. They're not holding cash. They're buying land. They're buying gold. They're buying real businesses that produce real value. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire by saving dollars in a bank account. He became a billionaire by owning productive assets that generate value regardless of what happens to the currency. The ultra-wealthy understand something that most people don't. Money is not wealth. Money is a claim on wealth. And when the system resets, those claims will be worthless. What matters is what you can touch, what you can use, what you can't replicate with a printing press, land, gold, skills, knowledge, relationships. These are the things that survive every reset. These are the things that hold value when the paper burns. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this because you deserve to know the truth. The system is designed to keep you ignorant, keep you dependent, keep you working for money that loses value every single day. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Once you understand the architecture, you can protect yourself. The debt mountain isn't a crisis waiting to happen. It's a crisis that's already here. It's just moving in slow motion, so most people don't notice until it's too late. $315 trillion of debt exists. But the creditor is a ghost, a mirror reflecting an empty vault. And when people finally look behind the mirror and see there's nothing there, the game ends. The only question is, will you still be playing when it does? In the next video, I'm going to show you the exact blueprint Rome used before its collapse. The 5 rules they forgot that led to the fall of the world's greatest empire. And how those same 5 mistakes are being repeated right now, word for word, decision for decision. If you made it this far, you're already different from most people. Most people won't watch this. And even if they do, they'll dismiss it as pessimism or conspiracy. But you're still here, which means you're looking for the truth. And the truth is always uncomfortable. Leave a comment right now with 3 words. I see it, just those 3 words. Because those 3 words mean you've woken up, you've seen behind the curtain, and you're ready to prepare. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because the greatest crime is knowing the truth and staying silent. History has the answers. I'm just showing you where to look. See you in the next one.